It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you gorgeous people, to yet another installment of the Culinary Hotline Bling.
Ting, ting, ting!
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We're joined by one of our favorite chefs, Chef Clem. He is, of course, on our foodie panel this morning to help answer any of your kitchen or culinary conundrums, because the truth is, we often do stumble upon those, right? And that's why we have the Culinary Hotline Bling for you to ask the questions, and Chef Clem will answer those questions. But this morning, we're joined by a very, very special guest on the show. Her name is Auntie Patsy. Auntie Patsy, welcome to Expresso.
Oh, she's running late.
Oh.
No, she's not. Auntie Patsy's here!
Hey, Auntie Patsy! Welcome, Auntie Patsy Benjamin.
Thank you.
It is so good to have you here because I know that you're passionate about food. You spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
I do.
Do you find sometimes that you just like also still, after all of these years of being in the kitchen, do you find that you often do come across some challenging times?
I do, especially with a little great nephew of mine who's fussy about what he eats.
Oh, really?
He's fussy about what he eats. Anything that is not to his taste, he will take out and he will ask for something else.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, I know people like that. Well, that's a good thing because if you're constantly having to deal with all of those curveballs that your nephew throws at you, our wonderful Chef Clem is here to answer those questions. Let's get into it. What are we doing? What are we making? What is the question? What's the story?
So, Auntie Patsy, you had a question for me?
Yes. Some weeks ago, I watched the program where you had this thing about bay leaves.
Yes.
And I wondered whether you could also add bay leaves to your cabbage or any vegetable breedy, but most of all cabbage breedy.
Not only can you, you should.
Oh.
Bay leaves, any savory dish, especially when I started with onions, bay leaves go into the pot. That's just, that's how I was taught. So bay leaves, now we're lucky because now we can get fresh bay leaves as well. So not just dried anymore, fresh ones as well. So, should we make a cabbage breedy?
Okay.
Let's do it.
do that, yeah.
So let's start off with the meat. We're going to use some lamb. And
Step in closer to the counter,
please,
Auntie
absolutely.
Patsy. Please, I know you are itching to get your hands busy there.
What I love about breedies in general is the fact that you take a little bit of meat and it turns into a lot of food because you add so many extras to it.
Yes.
It's a great way to feed a family. And also for winter, the breedies are... It's like that winter. That's what I look forward to when it comes to winter. The food.
Yeah.
Do you like cabbage food?
There's something about cabbage food and breadies, I don't know about you, Auntie Patsy, that really does remind me of home. It reminds me of that warm feeling, right?
And it also reminds me of my late mom, my grandmother, who used to do these things, and I used to watch them.
Yeah.
I used to watch the two of them, how they do.
And have you found that you actually carry that through? Now you're doing it for
I'm
your
adding my
nephew,
own
you're
twist
doing it.
to it.
Yes, and that's the thing about food, is adding your own twist to it. And maybe you can then, you and Chef Clem, show us these twists that you guys add to these things.
So my first step with the meat, you can hear it's not that screaming hot. Normally when we brown meat off, it starts off very hot, we add it and it's like... This time, because lamb's got a lot of fat in it, and that's flavor, I put the meat in, and it's like a medium heat. So it starts to simmering gently, and that allows the fat to come out of the lamb and render. So the meat's in, very important. I actually brown my meat for like 15 minutes until it's brown on the outside. I like it Auntie Patsy's going, because, I'm actually quite nervous to be in the kitchen. Auntie Patsy, and Auntie Patsy's an amazing cook. Meat's browning off, and then the next thing to go, like I said, you want it to be very, very brown.
Yeah.
That's your first layer of flavor. That way you don't actually need stock at all. So once the meat is perfectly brown, onions go in. And I know you told me this off air. Your nephew's got a thing about onions. He doesn't like seeing the onions in the food. Okay.
So how do you avoid them seeing the onions but still have the onions in there? Or is the trick to not have them at all?
No, you must put it in.
There's no way that I cook
without onions,
without
So how do you hide them from your nephew?
Oh, well, with these kinds of foods, he doesn't see it.
Oh, because it looks like it could be cabbage.
But if it's anything else lighter, and that, then he will just,
So what do you do when you're busy cooking and let's say you've got all your ingredients laid out? Do you hide the onions behind the counter somewhere, chat, and then when he's looking away, you go...
No, you come in. If he's not with me, you'll come in and ask me, what are you making? It smells lovely. So that's how I also entice him.
The magic.
Auntie Patsy, will you add the bay leaves for us? There we go. And because you're cooking the lamb or beef for so long, that onion will break down. will become part of the sauce.
It does, yes.
So that's a good thing about breedies and stews. Okay, bay leaves in. And now, again, you want your onions to brown until they're nicely caramelized before you add the next ingredients. It does take about 10 to 15 minutes. You've got to be patient with this. The difference between a good breedie and an amazing one is time. Taking the time to really develop those flavors. Okay.
You have to pace yourself.
Absolutely. Auntie Patsy, will you add our garlic and our carrots? Carrots are great because they add a bit of, again, it bulks up the dish, number one.
Thank you.
And it adds a little bit of sweetness to it. Cabbage also. Cabbage has a little bit of sweetness in there. That's going to go into your dish as you're busy cooking it. So, doing the right things.
You know, you can tell when someone really makes like a hearty meal just by the attitude and the finesse and the vibe in the kitchen. And I'm watching Patsy there, and Auntie Patsy is just like, can I have that there?
Auntie Patsy,
I'm
you
taking over
must
now.
have these things nearby.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Okay, let me bring it a little closer. Okay, so I'm going to come around this side now. We've got those main flavors in. Like I said, we're not going to use stock because if you brown your meat off properly, that's all the meaty flavor you need. Thank you, Auntie Patsy. But I've got another little cheat.
What is it?
A good way to turn a stew, like give it like body and color,
volume,
and flavor. Worcester sauce. Do you use Worcester sauce at all?
Oh, I do.
What do you call it?
What do you call it?
Worcester sauce.
Worcester sauce.
Not Worcester or whatever
Worcester.
everybody else calls it.
Worcestershire.
The South African word.
Yeah.
Worcester.
Worcester sauce.
Okay.
I agree. Okay, so potatoes are an amazing way. We spoke about bulking up dishes. Potatoes. Add more than what you think you need because it just makes a meal that would normally feed 4 can now feed 8 people.
It becomes a gazaganga. Tell me, Auntie Patsy, how many people do you live with?
Well, since my mom passed, it's just myself and my younger sister and her grandson.
And her grandson.
Tate is her grandson.
Oh,
So,
okay, I see. So there's 3 of you. But imagine then how big that meal gets.
Yes.
You can have it for lunch, for supper, and the next day, and lunchbox the next
But
day.
it tastes
as well.
better the next day, especially.
He always says that.
It's
okay,
the
so
truth.
it's true. Now I believe it because now it's
Auntie
been
Patsy
stamped.
says-
It's been stamped.
It's the Patty patent statement of the day. So, okay, once your potatoes are soft and once your meat starts falling off the bone, okay, because you want it to happen, you don't have to add water, but you can kind of keep an eye on it, add a little bit of water every now and then, but you cook it with the lid on for this stage, okay?
Okay.
Some of the moisture comes out, the meat starts to separate from the bone, it gets tender. When it's almost at that point where it's like really soft, you add your potatoes. When the potatoes are almost soft, that's when you add in your cabbage. Some people like the cabbage to have quite a bit of crunch to it. Auntie Patsy, that's you, right? You like your cabbage to have a little bit of texture to it.
Yeah.
Some people want that cabbage cooked
All the
down.
way through.
All right. And that's up to you. But the cabbage, if you want to get the bit of texture on it, it'll only cook for 15 minutes. You can cook it for as long as an hour if you want to get a nice soft cabbage.
The 2 of you are putting me through a masterclass.
You listen. It is.
Wow.
Auntie Patsy and I
The
are gonna-
cabbage masterclass of the year 2021. There will be no other that tops this. But we've got... Okay, I was about to say we've got all the ingredients on our website, but the phone is ringing. Thank you very much for calling the Culinary Hotline. Bling, ting, ting, ting. How can we help?
You're speaking to Jocelyn Holland from Milnerton.
Jocelyn and Milnerton, I'm going to put you on speakerphone here for everybody to hear properly. What is your culinary question this morning?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My problem, whenever I do mince balls, I don't rinse my meat like clothes, like so we, okay?
Yeah.
I do mince balls with a boiled egg inside the mince ball. All right?
Oh, yeah?
I know Chef Clem knows about it because it's a colored thing.
Okay, well, Chef
Yes,
Clem, you can
but
say now.
but-
Do you know about it?
I do.
But
And I'm gonna come in there. I'm gonna come in the middle because I am obsessed with Scotch eggs. Scotch eggs, do you like them?
Wow.
Love them. So Scotch eggs are actually an international thing. And I've seen like all over the world there's a version of Scotch eggs wherever you go in the world. So it's not just a colored thing, it's an everybody thing.
I
Scotch
love
eggs
it.
are delicious because the trick to a good Scotch egg is to cook your egg for about 6 minutes so your inside of your egg is still quite runny. I know it's a bit difficult when you have to shell it then, but I promise you, as soon as your eggs are cooked for 6 minutes, crack them slightly, put them in cold water. That helps the shell come off easily.
Huh.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then the water gets between the shell and the egg and helps it just peel off. Then you make your sausage mixture. And you can use just plain sausage mince, which is my trick.
Yeah.
Or you can make mince and you just season it. Dhania, curry powder, everything, all the flavors that you like.
Okay.
The best way for me to wrap that sausage around the egg is to take cling wrap and then put the mince mixture down, put your egg in the middle, and use the cling wrap to shape it around the egg.
Do you see how Auntie Patsy is looking at you explain all of that?
No, because I don't do it that way. So for me, that's something that
It's
it's interesting. Even with my egg,
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't crack it like you're saying. So it's like you say, it's difficult.
This is
Crack
new.
something with a soft.
With
in
a
the
soft,
middle.
yeah.
So I've now also learned something.
I love all of this. It's a proper must.
It is. I worked in a restaurant that I literally had to prepare 60 Scotch eggs for like large events. So I kind of know my way around a Scotch egg.
It.
Yeah.
Well, Jocelyn out in Milnerton.
I'm almost done with Jocelyn. I'm almost done, Jocelyn. I'm nearly done.
Okay.
Another thing you have to do, roll your now mince-filled egg into some flour, some egg, some breadcrumbs. You deep fry that until the outside's golden brown. Your mince is going to be cooked through. Your egg's going to be perfectly still running in the center. That's a meal right there. And one thing, egg, mince, a little bit of mustard, a little bit of like a sly flour, because a little bit of leaves, you know.
Wow.
It's so good. Jocelyn,
Wow.
I love your question. Scotch eggs. I'm going to plan in the next few weeks to do a Scotch egg recipe just for you, Jocelyn.
Thank you
All the way from
so
Milnerton.
In fact, Jocelyn, maybe one day we can have you in studio
You
to
know
come
what?
make some of your Scotch
Jocelyn,
eggs here.
what do you think
Wow.
about that? What do you think about that, Jocelyn?
We'll do, no problem, we'll do. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, we're gonna do
forward to
that.
it. But thanks for the call. Our producers will take the details. That is a fantastic one. Thank you so much. All that's praat maak my honger.
Wow.
And do you have any culinary conundrums that you want to share with us here on the Culinary Hotline? Blink, zing, zing, zing. Give us a call, 021 110 5552. We'll be back with more Culinary Hotline. Blink, zing, zing, zing.